Welcome to my preview of the famous Idaho Potato Bowl on the Blue. Of course, this is one of the great bowl games. You know, not one of the New Year's Six top bowl games, but it really is a classic bowl game there with that blue turf. Anything on the blue turf is going to be special, and Boise State fans, we can agree with that. But this bowl game, no matter who's in it, it usually draws some fans because people always want to see that blue turf in action. So this is going to be fun here. We got Kent State, 7-6 Kent State going up against 6-6 Wyoming. Wyoming already played on the blue this year and lost to Boise State, but they should have a little bit of an easier opponent here for sure in Kent State. A chance for them to go in and get some revenge on the blue and indirect revenge in a way here and get that win that they tried so hard for earlier this season. Game's going to be Tuesday, December 21st, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN. Wyoming favored in this one by 3 points and given a 59.8% chance of winning. As far as series history goes, first ever meeting between these two teams. It's a trend this season. We're seeing it all over the bowl game. So many teams meeting for the first time. So a chance for Wyoming to establish and continue some dominance here against the MAC, proving them once and for all, or once again, that Mountain West is the best conference in the group of five. So record review here. Kent State shooting a little bit above what was projected. I was projecting a 5-7 season. Of course, Kent State coming off of a 3-1 season where they played an all MAC conference schedule, and 7-6 year before that. I just thought they'd take a little bit of a drop down, but they were able to get to bowl eligibility, were able to get to their conference championship game, so definitely shooting above what was predicted. Athlon Sports was projecting 6-6, so finishing 7-6 here, loss in their conference championship game, a tough loss to Northern Illinois, a team who also had a surprise season, picked last in the MAC, ended up getting to and winning their conference championship. So Kent State here with shooting a little bit above expectations. Wyoming a little bit below. I was thinking 7-5. Athlon Sports was projecting 8-4, and they ended up 6-6. So definitely some opportunities missed here. Didn't really end up working out quite so much well as they thought it did. Ended up having to have a quarterback change halfway through the season after Sean Chambers just really wasn't able to come back from the injury from a couple years ago. I mean, he's really been plagued by injuries, and it really has impacted his ability to get out on the field and be the quarterback that we saw his first game out there when he matched up against Power 5 team. I forget exactly who it was. It might have been Missouri, something like that. But a lot of people were impressed by his early performances, but that injury has really reduced his elusiveness and really has impacted his play, and a big reason about why he was injured, of course, again this season, leading to him being replaced. So Wyoming, of course, having a down year. But I think that they're going to come back strong next season. We'll get into the rest of the preview here. Worst loss for Kent State was going to be to Western Michigan. They lost 64-31. That was a big one. Western Michigan, a pretty good team out of the MAC, has a win against Pittsburgh, winner of the ACC. But numerically, that was their biggest loss. And then for Wyoming, it's going to be 38-14 loss to Hawaii. Right after they had beaten Utah State. So they beat the Mountain West champions, beat Utah State, surprise win. No one's really sees it coming. I projected it, but no one really else is seeing it's coming. Wins against Utah State and then let down following game against Hawaii. Of course, Hawaii desperate to try and get to some semblance of bowl eligibility, so motivation has a big part to play in who ends up winning these games. But that was definitely a bad loss there at the end of the season. Left Wyoming a little bit of a sour taste in their mouth, and they definitely want to avenge that here in the bowl game. So best win for these two teams? Well, Kent State actually does have a win against Northern Illinois, the winners of their conference. They beat them during the regular season, 52-47. They had a rematch in the conference championship and unfortunately ended up losing, but they do have a win against a good Northern Illinois team. So this is a Kent State team that can get it done against that mid-level group of five competition for sure, and Wyoming definitely falling into that category this season. So Wyoming needs to watch out. For Wyoming, their best win, like we've already mentioned it, 44-17 win against Utah State, one of those surprise teams out of the group of five, right on the cusp of top teams in the group of five this season. Of course, winning the Mountain West always going to put you in that zone. So Wyoming showing an ability in the past to win against good teams. Both of these teams winning at some point against the conference champion of their conference. So these teams might be 6-6 and 7-6 here, so 6 losses apiece. But I think that they're better than their records and are maybe going to be a little underrated in this one. Neither should be underestimating the other. Top players, well, for Kent State, it's going to be their wide receiver, Dante Cephas, I think is how you say his name there. 1,124 yards receiving, 8 touchdowns, really the heart and soul of this offense. For Wyoming, it's going to have to be their running back, Xavier Valade, just with the uncertainty at the quarterback position here with a freshman at the helm there. It's going to be leaning on Valladay. He's 984 yards rushing, 5 touchdowns, 5.2 yards per carry. He's been balled up in a few games, and that's really cost Wyoming. If he can have a big one, Wyoming's going to have a win in this. For keys of the game, we've already kind of mentioned it. For Kent State, it's going to be stopping the running game. 5 out of the 6 losses that Wyoming had, Valladay rushed for under 100 yards, and notably in the Boise State and the Hawaii game, he was sub 50, 42 versus Hawaii and 37 versus Boise State. So really how Valladay goes really impacts the rest of the team for sure. In addition to that, Chambers is inconsistent. Chambers has been inconsistent this season, and then Levi Williams is inexperienced. So whoever ends up, I'm not sure, I'm not tracking injury-wise if Chambers is going to be able to play. I think Craig Bohl's kind of holding that close to the chest, or who's going to end up starting this one. But Levi Williams has had some nice moments. He's a big quarterback. He's 6'5". He reminds people a little bit of Josh Allen. Of course, not really showing necessarily that raw skill yet, but he definitely has the statistics as far as the height goes. And he has shown some ability to be elusive. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the offseason, how he develops. But with the inconsistencies in the passing game, if Kent State can force Wyoming to the air, they're going to have a much better chance of beating them. For Wyoming, just the opposite. Emphasize the ground game. Kent State gives up 190.5 yards per game. So there are going to be big opportunities. I think that Valladay gets over the 1,000-yard mark in this one. Your quarterbacks, especially Williams, is a running quarterback. He can get out there and make some plays in the running game. So I would go with a very heavy run-based, running back, RPO focus where you're really kind of testing that defense. And maybe they'll open up some opportunities in the passing game later on. But that's what I'd come in heavy with for Wyoming. As far as a prediction in this one, I think that Craig Bohl is going to get that 45th win at the school and the 3rd bowl win of his career at Wyoming so far. It's Wyoming, maybe a closer game than fans are expecting, and I think that shows in the Vegas rankings there, with Wyoming only favored by 3 points. Maybe a little bit of a closer game than fans are expecting. Kent State, a team not to be underestimated, but I think it should be a good one. I think Wyoming does end up winning it in the end. So thank you for watching this video. I'm previewing every single bowl game this season. Make sure you like and subscribe, and as always, go Big Blue!